Our guest on Perspectives today is George Peterson. He is the chairman of the Conneaut Port Authority. Hello, George.
Hello, Bob. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Great.
So, scheduling this interview with George, it was between two other meetings, and it had to be strategically located or decided on because the guy's so busy these days. Yet George here in the Port Authority is discussing taking over Liberty Street Park. And I'm just wondering, are you going around looking for more things to do, or what's going on?
Yeah, Bob, I mean, I like to tell people that I've gone from semi-retirement to full employment. I do love the job. So yeah, we're real interested in bringing activity to the city of Conneaut, and not just along the waterfront. And I don't want anybody to ever think that we're trying to desert the waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. We're going to stay on the waterfront, but we're also trying to expand out beyond the waterfront. As you're aware, one of our first adventures outside of the waterfront was the Weldon Road facility.
Yes.
And that turned out to be a tremendous success. So we're really excited about it.
That seems to be busy, even this time of year, winter. It's always going.
Well, it turns out that they are a year-round operation.
Yeah.
So they have the kayaking starting about now, and they also have fly fishing or steelhead fishing on the creek. So this year, the creek didn't ice over a lot of times. They did have a few times where they got some ice, so they were very active from the steelhead side of the business as well. Plus, he's got the fly shop in there, so they're tying flies. They're teaching people how to tie flies and things like that. So it's turned out to be just one of those diamonds in the rough, so to speak, and a real asset to the city of Conneaut, so we're excited about it.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, living in that area, you'd see cars parked along Route 7 and walking down to the creek and doing their fishing and whatever, and going back to Youngstown or wherever from, and never spending a dime in Conneaut, never really having any contact with anybody. So, I mean, this is a welcome change.
Right, and they're real ambassadors to the city of Conneaut as well. So they have developed good relationships with different businesses in town. So they are encouraging their customers to spread out throughout the city. So, like I said, it's a tremendous asset for the city of Conneaut.
So what's up with the park on Liberty Street?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, we like I said, we're trying to expand beyond just the waterfront and beyond commercial business type activities. So we're trying to look at what else can we bring to the city and to families within the city. So we looked at the parks and saw that Liberty Street Park has been vacated because of the Spark, where the
tennis courts. Yeah.
Pardon?
The tennis courts.
The tennis courts, yes. So they're very seldom used now. There is some activity there. So the thought is people that want to play tennis can certainly use the Spark. We looked at it and said, it was a great facility for ice skating in the wintertime, and this new craze going across the country in pickleball, which we're aware that Township Park is also looking at that as an option for their tennis courts to play pickleball there. But I'm familiar with pickleball, and a lot of people are familiar with pickleball in the city of Conneaut, and they see how it's the fastest growing sport in the United States today. So it's one of those things that I can see that would bring families out of the house and into parks. It'll bring them out of the house and into parks in the wintertime when we put ice skating in there. So
that's great.
So, and I know that there's been people in the town that have been looking for ice skating for years. And so it's just going to take somebody or some group of people that are able to do that. So we think that the Port Authority is the right group of people to do that. So that's why we approached the city and asked them to allow us to do that at Liberty Street. Now, Liberty Street may not be the ultimate, the final location. We may end up being at Dean Avenue. Either park park works for us. Either park has its advantages, and either park has its disadvantages. So either one works for us. We're happy to do it at either place. The tennis courts in Liberty Street are in better shape than the ones on Broad Street, so the tennis courts on Broad Street would need, or Dean Avenue, I guess it is, would need more work than the ones on Liberty Street.
Didn't they use that for ice skating like years ago?
Oh, Bob, back when you and I were kids?
I think it was before that.
Oh, yeah. But we skated on that at Liberty Street.
Oh, okay.
All hours of the night. It used to be lit. But they also had them at Lakeview Park as well. So
sure, I remember that.
Both north and south ends of town had ice skating on those courts. I don't think that we're going to be able to just flood the courts as they are today, because they're different than they were when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
They had curbs around it so it would hold water. Now they don't. They had drains in the middle of it. I'm not sure if they still have drains or not. So what we're looking at is purchasing a portable ice rink that we could actually put in there. And we've got some quotes, and they're not outrageous. And a lot of municipalities use these ice rinks. So that's what we're looking at. That would go right on top of that surface.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So
we've looked at different sizes too, Bob. Some that fit the surface and some that are a little bigger. So we've got to finish evaluating that. But as soon as the city is able to give us direction as to which park we would have, then we'll be able to finish those plans.
I see. Let's talk about the cottage shops adjacent to the Port Authority's Blue Building.
Yeah.
You have two of them ready to go and two more. Are they all ready to go? Or what is all of that?
Three down there right now, and the fourth one is finished, and we're waiting for delivery on that fourth one. And that's probably what we're going to open with. We've run into a few things that we have to do from a zoning standpoint, as well as permitting, and also from the building department out of Jefferson. So we've got some things that we're having to do to these shops, as well as to put them on a foundation that they are strapped down.
Mm-hmm.
This is something, since they are going to be commercial type buildings, it falls under different regulations than just if you're got it for tool storage or something like that. So there's a few more things that we have to get accomplished, but we still plan on opening those 4 this year. So
what kind of enterprises are they going to be?
Well, Bob, we had a tremendous response. We were just talking about that this morning. We've had probably close to 30 responders.
Wow.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Ice cream.
Well, that'd be nice. Yeah. Wouldn't it? Ice cream would be nice. Just snacks, Conneaut labeled things like T-shirts,
souvenirs, sure.
Like that. Things that you forget when you go to the beach or go to the park or you're going out on the boat. Things like suntan lotions and stuff like that. Also, we've had some people that are interested in doing beach glass jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
That are interested in doing driftwood art type things.
Shovels and pails and that kind of stuff.
There's all kinds of neat things that we're looking at that will go in down there. But unfortunately or fortunately, we're going to start off small this year. Smaller than we wanted to. But going forward, we're looking at how does this thing all play out.
Well, it's better than it was last year, right? Anything more to get people down there?
Everything that we can do to improve the adventure of coming to Conneaut and going to the lakefront, those are the things that we're open to do.
And I see the barbecue break wall opened already. I was riding my bike down there. I think it was Sunday, and it was a cold breeze. Maybe because I was riding my bike, but there were people out there sitting out there, quite a few eating. So
I was actually talking to Mike Morgan yesterday, and he said it's one of the best marches he's ever had here. So
that's great.
People want to get out. Unfortunately, we've been locked up for over a year, and then come through the winter, and people are now ready to go outside. So we need to give people things to do and things to do as a family, and we're excited.
Yeah.
We're also excited that it looks like, and I'm not making any guarantees like I did last year, but it looks like we're going to be able to open the sandbar, and we're looking forward to being able to do that. The water level is projected to be down as much as 12 inches. And if that's the case, we should be in good shape and be able to open the sandbar.
George Peterson, the chairman of the Conneaut Port Authority, is my guest. And I want to talk about the new marina along Naylor Boulevard.
Sure.
Somebody had an online petition against it because of all the exotic birds and the waterfowl and all that sort of thing. And you met with them. What happened with that?
Well, we met with them. I thought it was a very good meeting. There was an understanding on both sides. We understand a little bit more about what they were looking for. I think they understood, what we're trying to accomplish. They also now understand, and I think most of the community understands, that we, the Port Authority, went forward and had the areas of the sandbar designated as wetlands.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do anything on the wetlands. You can't, which is good. I mean, we want to protect that property. We are going to do some invasive species evaluation and possibly even some mitigation. We also discovered a section of the water that we're going to protect that is vegetated shallows is a designation for it. So we're going to be able to protect that. We are in the process of we still haven't gotten the evaluation back as to what the material is in the ground that we would have to dredge, whether it's sand or we know it's more of a muck and a shale type material. So we need to decide where we're going to put that when we get around to starting that. But we haven't even filed for the permit yet, so we're still in those early stages. We had hoped to be filing for the permit by now. If no later than mid-April. It looks like it's going to drag out just a little bit longer because of the things that we have to get evaluated first. The other thing I would say to you is the design of the marina is changing. We will not be as far west as we had intended. We'll still have the same number of docks that we intended, but it will be more to the east because of that vegetated shallows on the west end of that we're going to protect.
We got less than 2 minutes left, and I wanted you to kind of address the marina and why it's needed. I think the last time you were on the show, you talked about larger boats that have very few options right now as to where they can go. And I would imagine larger boats mean people that may have money to spend as well.
That is exactly right, Bob. As you look at all the development that we're trying to do, not the Port Authority, but what the city is trying to do under the comprehensive plan, it's going to bring in more people to the waterfront. And more people, and we've already started to hear from some folks, look, I want to come to your waterfront. I want to be able to bring my boat. I want to be able to dock it somewhere. I want to be able to store my trailer where it's secured. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to come by boat. So we're already hearing from those people. So we're trying to accommodate for all those things that are going to help bring people to Conneaut and spend money.
And they'll spend a few days here too, I would take it.
Absolutely, I would think.
Yeah, we got to get going, but I was talking to the director of the Conneaut Arts Center with all that going on, the outdoor concerts are returning this year. I got an email, D-Day Museum is opening the Saturday before Memorial Day. And things are already happening down there, because when I get on my bicycle, I end up down at the Conneaut Port most of the time.
And we're going to continue to try to make that a beautiful trip for you.
Okay. We got to go. George Peterson, a very busy chairman of the Conneaut Port Authority. Thank you for taking the time between meetings.
No problem.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. I'm Bob Lebzelder on Perspectives.